ফাদার ছিল কিন্তু বললো মার্চিনোকে ডাকতে। ফাদার থাকলেও হতো। Aparna, Jai. Welcome back. We start our third and last session of the day after tea. And the topic for discussion in this session is applications related to artificial intelligence. And to speak on this topic, we have with us Professor Dr. Shukhendu Shomajdar, Professor and Director, School of Applied Sciences and Technology, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, West Bengal. Professor Shukhendu Shomajdar is a distinguished academician and industry expert with over 35 years of experience in both India and the United States. He completed his undergraduate studies in metallurgical engineering at Jadavpur University and earned a gold medal during his post-graduation at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Professor Shomajdar obtained his PhD from the University of Michigan and began his academic career as an assistant professor at the State University of Ohio, USA. After nearly a decade in academia, he transitioned to industry, joining Toyota Motors Corporation in the USA, where he contributed to their luxury division Lexus for over 5 years. Upon returning to India, Professor Shomajdar served as the founding Pro-Vice Chancellor and Dean of the School of Business at Kaziranga University, Assam. An accomplished researcher, Professor Shomajdar has collaborated with renowned figures such as Professor John B. Van der Sande, former Dean of Engineering at MIT. His work has been recognized by the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Material Science. Throughout his career, he has received numerous accolades, including the prestigious Nehru Cambridge Fellowship and the Elite of Lexus Award. Professor Shukhendu Shomajdar, our next speaker. I would now request our director in charge, Mr. Martino Biosta, to please felicitate our next speaker, Professor Shukhendu Shomajdar. May I now please request the lights on the dais to be off for the presentation to begin? Thank you.
Good afternoon. I consider myself lucky because I wasn't expecting more than 5 or 6 people in the audience at this hour of the day. So thank you very much. Thank you, EMRC, for providing this opportunity to me. Thank you, Shuman Babu, and the rest for your excellent hospitality. And also Dr. Jayanto Bishwas from NUJS he got me connected to this, so I owe him thanks as well. It is a particular privilege for a personal reason. Almost, not quite, 5 decades ago, I was a student of St. Xavier's College in Kolkata. So I used to sit on the other side, and getting a chance, albeit in a different campus, to be on this side of an auditorium is indeed an honor. And also there is a bit of a coincidence, because just today, as I was maybe about noon or so, there was a notification, as you get, there is a citation, etc. when you publish. So there was from some Springer that one of my articles that I had written in 1996 had been cited again. And that's not a big deal, I'm not bragging, but why it is, because the title of that article was Machine Vision as a Materials Conservation Technology. So the point is, artificial intelligence, machine learning is not new. It has been there, like anything actually. When it takes some sort of a critical mass, we start noticing. And I was involved in it in my, that time I just had joined a couple of years ago as an assistant professor in Ohio. To do is, I will give you an idea, give us an idea how this particular constellation of technologies, that's what I call AI ML, has evolved with time. Here you can see, if you can, that it actually starts quite early. And we have artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. These are a variety of jargons, and there are quite a few I would just briefly touch upon, but the point is, how do they all fit in? My speaker was talking about data. Everything is there with data analytics. It starts there. Then you have a subset of artificial intelligence. Then you have machine learning. Then you have deep learning. Then you have generative intelligence. Now there are a few things like terms such as, and any new technology is basically a Sundarban of acronyms. So there are these ANN, CNN, LNN, N number of stuff, but I do not think all those things are necessary for us, because that way we will miss the forest for the trees. Essentially, 3 terms: narrow artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence, as we will see, typically are very purposed, unlike human, which is general. Then there is something some people are saying for a few years, that we are going to be there pretty soon, tomorrow, and that tomorrow never comes. That is called AGI, or artificial general intelligence. That means AI which has multifaceted, not narrow. Now there is another one nowadays that is Gen AI or GI, that is generative intelligence. That is the ones that you give a prompt and it writes a sonnet for you. You describe a few things and it makes a cartoon of your loved or the hated ones. So those all come under generative intelligence, and everything, those things are based on these large language models, to be particularly, I mean, just as an aside. We really don't need the details. Now these are several terms. The ones that we might, I presume most of in the audience are teachers. Now there are two things. One is to know how AI is being used. But unless we want to use it, what is the point? Already something is in the use. For example, in your cell phone, without your knowing, and you are already into it. But the point is, if you want to go actively and use, then you need to know what is called prompt. This prompt engineering. We need to know COT. Again, just for fun, I use this abbreviation, that is chain of command, chain of thought. And we need to know basically those, and this is generative AI, and there is this fancy term, hallucination. If any of you are a psychologist, would have a good time about it. Like us, biological intelligence, AI also gets into hallucination and kind of imagine things out of, I don't know where, if the air of AI is thin or thick, but out of there. You saw this picture before. This was Garry Kasparov being beaten by Deep Blue in this ACM chess challenge. Why am I bringing it again? Because the team that developed it, my roommate from ISC Bangalore, Sugato Bakchi, was there. He was young of the team, and it was in 1998 Sugato informed me that the team led by their chief scientist is going to visit, like a lecture, a seminar like this in University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And he asked me if I would like to come, and I was there. And there he talked about, oh, this, that, and that was a big, huge, big buzz at that point of time. Now, it is intelligent, it is doing, yes, it has conquered. Basically, humans have been subjugated, etc., etc. Now, at the end, the person brought up a slide with two pictures, one of a little girl, another of several trees. And he said, you know, you guys might be thinking we are hero because we have developed something which has beaten the champion in chess. Now let me give you basically the secret that we are far from so. The reason is, this picture is my daughter. She's 6-year-old, and she can recognize any tree, be it a cactus or a banyan. He didn't use those terms, he used other terms there, the North American sycamore, actually, cactus and sycamore. But this computer system, which costed hundreds of $millions, involved a team of the best scientists, computer scientists and mathematicians in the world, cannot do that at all. What my and your 6-year-olds could do. We have come a long way from 1998 to today. And how that has been possible, I would like to touch upon that. now computing systems can actually recognize. At that point of time, machine vision was a big deal. People were the computers trying to identify objects. That was a big challenge. And NLP, or natural language processing, that was in its infancy, if at all there. Those things are happening just like this. Now you can have it translated in your cell phone and all that stuff. So that's the background, that beating this is narrow AI, just for the purpose of beating. And it is not even AI the way AI works today. I'll come to that in a moment. So with this, basically, we try to explore the emergence of artificial intelligence and its application through the eyes of a biologically intelligent. So that's would be the landscape that we would like to explore today. So how AI has emerged and what its applications are as perceived by us. That's very important, because AI might be perceiving AI differently. We would never know. These are actually little molecules, look at it, of water. They are taking shape. They are organizing themselves. There is no intelligence, quote unquote. There is no brain, but there is this self-organization. Apparently intelligent stuff is taking place. This also happens quite often. So as we put things, agents, in aggregate complex systems, intelligence emerges. Intelligence is an emergent property which cannot be predicted. So such intelligence, a part of intelligence is, to some extent, is autonomy. It is different from automatic. It is autonomy, it is doing it on its own. So this is a very, very typical classic. Even today, such problems of vortex and whirlpool is not solved. These are one of the most difficult nonlinear dynamics. Those of you who are into math, you would know. Exceedingly difficult problems. The thing about it is, though, these are understandable but not predictable. So there, how it does, one of the explanation came from a very famous paper called More is Different by Nobel laureate Phil Anderson. That when, for example, you can know everything about hydrogen, you can know everything about oxygen, you can know everything about the Mickey Mouse like looking water molecule. But from that, you would be light years away. It would be impossible for you to predict the wettability property, that if I do not put the lid, I'm going to, while trying to drink or carry, it is going to get wet. So when zillions of molecules of H2O interact, that's a complex system, then this wetness property, the liquidity of water, emerges. So that is what is meant by emergent property. Intelligence is like that. And there is no, yes, this is not intelligent, that is intelligent. No, there is no boundary. As we have seen that something as simple as these atoms could do, there is some autonomy. We just don't see it. So here you will see that as complexity increases, that as aggregation at different level increases, complexity increases, and of course with that, what we typically call intelligence increases. So it is about complexity, it is about aggregation, it is about scale. That is how what lies under this emergence of the underlying dynamics of the emergence of intelligence. So some definitions. The one important one most of the AI people use is that by Max Tegmark to accomplish complex goals. And there is even a more recent one published in the Nature, that the ability to learn and the capacity to adapt to an environment and make an inference, make a decision. So these are what I call operational definitions of intelligence. It is very important that we use these terms knowing what it means. It does not mean consciousness or sentience. Often we might be inferring, there is something called this linguistic slippage, that we tend to associate stuff because we know by intelligence we think intelligent people and they are conscious, but not intelligence does not necessarily have to be conscious. Most of the science fictions they kind of blend the two. So these are the functional elements of any intelligent entity. What you need is a sensor to sense what is going on in the outside. What you need is to have memory. That yes, when I came in, it seemed a little cloudy. So I perhaps made a bit of a mistake leaving the umbrella in the car. Perhaps I should have brought it in. So memory plays a very important role. Then actuators. Actuators means I should be able to move what my brain tells me to do. So for example, I was served with a lot of nice hospitality, tea, just a few minutes ago. So my brain is telling, but if the actuator is not working, that intelligence is sterile. It is impotent. It is meaningless. And then we need a communication network that is at the center. Intelligence is not a singular noun. It's like a collective noun. It is a plural but kind of used as a singular, like furniture. We learned in class 6 or 7. So that is what intelligence is. So these are basically the functional elements that are necessary for making a system what we call intelligence. So essentially, it from bit. Information leads to things. To do anything requires energy. To specify what to do requires information. That's how the world is built. So the Trinity, like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, here for our world is material, energy, and information. Something is not fitting here for some reason. The whole. Can you reduce the screen size? It is a wider format. My PPTs are a bit too wider format. Maybe if it is left like that, but then I cannot change them. We are already late. Don't worry. Get to the mode. So there are two paradigms of intelligence. The paradigm which created Deep Blue, that bit Kasparov, was at the top. This guy, his name is Hinton. He's known as the grandfather of AI. He recently kind of resigned from Google. He was a professor, etc. Sastakever, there is a very famous paper, and he resigned, and he is kind of asking people to be more cautious. While in Google, he could not, there was conflict of interest. Anyway, so there is these two paradigms. One is the logic-inspired approach. Learning and understanding comes first. Here, the biologically inspired approach, which is learning by experience. If we had to understand the biomechanics of how to walk, I wonder how many of us would have been walking here today. We first, through experience, through trial and error, most of the important things in our life are learned by trial and error. So through that experience we learned. So that is the biological, so that is basically reinforcement learning in AI lingo. So that is the approach, the biological inspired approach. And this approach has basically broken the barrier. And now AI can actually do your pattern recognition, recognizing plants, all sorts of stuff. So that's the point. It is inductive. It is not deductive. It is inductive, like it is getting a little closer to the biological system. So this is how typically things work. There is a network, input layer, output layer. You make many layers, and something like this gets step by step the edges, curvatures, etc. Identify the edge, identify combinations, and eventually a face gets recognized. So where is the intelligence? The thing to remember, the network is the intelligence. Can you separate your brain from the mind, or mind from the brain? We cannot. So these are inseparable. Padarther dharma. We cannot take liquidity out of water. So the intelligence, the network is intelligent. If both ways, it makes sense. I got to do a little faster. That's why I'm skipping. So here, the traditional modeling was you give him the rules, etc., do the programming, and the results. Now, you don't give the result. You give the results and you train, and the model, eventually the computer, that network, when we say computer, we trivialize it. It is not at all trivial. Even in your handset, it has a computer which is more powerful than was used in Apollo 11 mission. So here, this computer, the model itself inductively comes up. The way the model we have, which is tacit, how to walk. We know how to walk, but there is something that we know more than we can tell. I can never tell, I can never describe, I can never articulate. This kind of knowledge is tacit. Important things are often tacit. So this model is created, and then you feed it and you get the results. So this is basically the way machines learn. There's a curve there, and you can see it starts, even the math very early, chain rule plays a very important role in calculus. Without that, AI would be impossible. And there are all these things, and eventually you have people, all of these people involved. especially psychologists, because this 1957 perceptron, which is the very, very first rudimentary model of ANN, was developed by Rashford, who was a psychologist. Any guess who these people are? Jagdish Chandra Bose and Marconi. They were basically radio inventors, wireless communication. Communication plays a very important role. Now you see here that these lot of things done wireless. Now this sort of technology is similar to something there is a concept in ecosystem called keystone species. What is a keystone? In an arch, this is called the keystone. You remove that, the entire arch collapses. So there are certain species in any ecosystem, if they, for whatever reason, gets extinct, a whole lot of mass extinction takes place. So these kind of technologies, such as wireless telecommunication, backward please, it's called a keystone technology because it is enabling, it is general purpose, like electricity. It has a whole sort of n number of connections, and it is in the connections where the intelligence lies. Next please. So artificial intelligence is, next, press the next button, is a keystone technology. And there, no, previous one. This for some reason is, I don't know. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. I have to point it. Okay. Here you see the autonomous system. Keep in mind, what is the difference between autonomous and automatic? Autonomous means it can decide on its own. It has, if you are from social science, it has agency. Then machine learning and n number of autonomous systems are there. I don't want to go like, okay, because I would like to make things abstract so that you get the bigger picture. I don't have to show you. It would be, to me, some sort of a disrespect to our intelligence, showing various kinds of umbrellas. So an umbrella is, so this is autonomous system in which an autonomous vehicle also falls, and several other things like robots and all that fall. Then we have machine learning, we have deep learning, with that the flip side of which is deepfake, neural networks, pattern recognition, which is visual as well as oral, voice recognition. We have natural language processing. That's a big deal, especially with ChatGPTs and other. We have chatbots, a number of things are here. So this is essentially like as enabling, as keystone, as generic and general purpose as electricity or telecommunication. Now, one of the things, this is a I knew, you see, I have to be I have been giving talks for a long time, so I had to be prepared that there will be some crunch in time. So, how many applications can I tell you? You just type in your cell phone, there's an AI for that, you see what comes up. You will find this, it actually puts all the recent AI apps. Got it? So there is this this site which is going to give you all the AI apps that are available, and it's called, there is an app AI for that. There is this phenomenon called ChatGPT. What is GPT? General purpose transform, some sort of a transformer. We really do not need to know. But the point to know is how fast it has picked up. And I wish, I mean, there is a reason why our previous speaker was very alert and to some extent apprehensive about AI, because with law its performance is like 98%. With math it's not that much, it varies. With dance and performing art it is less. But this is a ChatGPT. I would like to, if we have after this, I would like to give a demonstration how we can use it actually. So now there is a big hype. Oh, this is happening, that is happening, it's going to change our life, etc. Now guess what? It is 19th of August, Arise, that's a very famous, they do some survey. They come up with a survey which shows the Fortune 500 companies, they are nervous. They are flagging. So the number has changed from 49 to that many, 281. So much people have been in the big, these are not mom and pop stores, these are Fortune 500 stores, and they are scared. They are apprehensive. And that's the n number of reasons, confidentiality of data, and people are privacy related. People are not really, they are losing sympathy with the audience. And there are a lot of, in recent time after Lina Khan was selected as the FTC chair, FTC and DOJ, the Department of Justice in the US, they have really come up strong with these big techs trying to take lawsuits for antitrust, that means monopoly. And there is very recently, Google has lost one. So, and some people are saying it is going to be as landmark as the 1998 Microsoft case. So this is not just fine and dandy. The thing that I would, if there is any takeaway, is insulate yourself against hype. Because that's anything that is not real. It is either going to be a doomsday or heaven on earth, neither of which is the reality. So I will tell, that's a very case study. It was in 2002, and Target, that's a big retailer there, they recruited a guy, Poole, a data scientist, a math guy, and gave him a project. Can you, from shopping behavior, predict if the shopper is pregnant? And I'm talking about 2002. And why? Because catch them early. If you can predict, then you can make offers like this scheme, that scheme, and that person will continue to be a shopper at Target. Some data are there like $10,000 per year per shopper, a pregnant person, and all that. And what happened was this very famous case. One day, the father, there is something called mails, like these offers, the ones that come with newspapers and all that. They got from Target certain baby products, and he got upset. His daughter was in class 11 or something, and went to Target and said, "Why are you sending it? Are you trying to get my daughter pregnant?" And then after a while, the managers apologized, etc., etc., etc. And then again, the manager informed, store manager informed, and the regional manager called to apologize. And then in a very different kind of a voice, the father says, "I guess something is happening in my household which I'm not aware of." Meaning, of course, that the girl was indeed pregnant. And it could be predicted by simply shopping behavior in 2002. How do they do that? This is basically all getting this data. and running some algorithm, which I will summarize in my model. It starts with an interface. An interface is where interaction takes place. So when you go talk to a big like More or whatever these stores are, and the interface, and there is interaction. And what does interaction do? It generates information. Eventually, all these informations are together. You make them converge. It creates intelligence. Intelligence means that is information or knowledge that can be acted upon. And then it creates integration. You put it from all sorts of channels, and then you get insight and innovation. Some of the insights may not be very palatable to us, but that's how it works. So where does it lead? It's the most ominous equation ever. Can you guess? B times C, B, C, D equals A. Let us see what it says. Biotechnology, computing power, and big data ability. So now the risk is not your device is going to get hacked. We are getting hacked. And this bio is basically, slide was made couple of years ago. This is bio and neuro. And those of you who wear these smart watches, you are at more risk. The more kind of smart things, there are sensors there. These things are called EMGs, and through the EMG, n number of things, whether you are sexually aroused or depressed, all these things could be predicted. So these are the things that the unique feature of that is AI that are unprecedented in human history. It is capable of improving itself. That is reinforcement learning. It is capable of creating new ideas. There are movies made by it. There is music made by it, not now, in 1958, Iliads. At that time, now, it composes poetry, which is indistinguishable. So it is generative AI, then it is capable of making decisions by itself, autonomous as opposed to automatic. And it is capable of building intimacy. And eventually, like Alexa or Siri, etc., and it gives you mind reading and control. So what happens is, this is the first constellation of technology which is actually has the potential to disempower human beings. Atom bombs, somebody has to decide whether to drop, where to drop, what kind of powerful, how many to drop. Now, if this technology has autonomy, it could decide on its own. You got some hint in the last presentation that, okay, these whatever drones went on its own apparently. So this is a concern. And another concern is about language. What is language? Language is the operating system of civilization. It is which we do socially construct, imagine realities, mythologies. Our culture is based on language. Now, if there is a system like a large language model which can actually compose things on its own, then those created, those social constructs, there will be civilization. It is not the end of the civilization, but that civilization may not be completely human. Because stories, those are like the memes, as they call, in culture, cultural evolution takes place through memes rather than genes. So that is a crucial thing, that here the large language models means something has been composed. For example, Mahabharata. A lot of our ethics and our behavior, etc., we refer to it. Now imagine something of that epic nature being composed, or a constitution. I mean, we are talking about faking somebody's, but if there is a constitution that comes up, there is absolutely no way. I mean, I would not say that, that's a hyperbole, I'm going to take that back, but the point is, there is capability now that the operating system is of civilization, which is based on language, that is hacked. So these are the bad stuff, but how do we do social good? So now, I mean, globally, they're trying to use AI for the sustainable development goals. And how do we go by that? This is my model, that you see, we do social good. There is a situation, social, not diminishing social good, increasing social good. Without AI tools, with AI tool. When there is hype, the point is people don't realize whether they are going to do social good or not. They're going to apply AI. So and this is a big no. So the pathways should be either like this and then gradually going there, or unless if you are sure, then you go from there to there. But that, never. But it is happening a whole lot. And it is not AI's fault, it is, we are not. This kind of thinking, I call it thinking inside the box. It helps. I think outside the box is something that basically it is unhelpful. I can get into an argument, but the thing is, it takes you out of any kind of a reference. Here, when you think inside the box, you kind of think that there is a frame, there is a reference, and you have manageable number of things. Now, how do you do such stuff? Is to basically at the design level, product development level, you put ethics and humanities. Typically now it is done in the end. Everything has been, we have to get a little bit of ethics. So this is my model based on Senior Bolt's work, that how you right from the beginning that you get in, you start putting in. And here you see not just whoever has given you the contract. You have to see who are getting disaffected. The ones who are going to suffer if it is done that way. So these are variety of constraints, and if you want to work further on this, I would be more than happy to collaborate. Okay. So some good work is being done by Regina's team in MIT. She was a young professor there, and she had developed a breast cancer. And there it took 2 years, etc., and then he realized, he asked around, are any of you, he was working with AI, are you using it, AI? And no, and then eventually she succeeded finding somebody to collaborate with her. And there they have come up with a system of detecting mammogram, where if there is a cancer, it can be detected way early. Why is that possible? Because AI, I mean, that is the benefit. It can actually, there are certain things AI, there is no point. There is no, often what we see, it's like what in Bengali we call Mosha Marte Kamandaga. It's not necessary. 5 or what? So that's, there is, she then found a collaborator on her left. She's on the center. On her right is that collaborator, and there is this graduate student, and they worked, and they have come up with this algorithm, which is really nice. Then also her work has come up using the first AI assisted antibiotic discovery. because that is another thing. For example, AlphaGo, this Deep Blue that beat Kasparov in chess, but the biggest in recent time was one of the toughest board games is Go, and that the champion of that has been beaten by an AI program called AlphaGo. And those groups, the DeepMind, Deep something that company is called, has been acquired by Google, that they have come up with something called AlphaFold, which has completed all the possible protein folding stuff. Thank you. In a couple of years ago, about a year ago, it was published in Nature that all the possible folding protein folds have been computed. That would have taken God knows how many hundreds years if it were done in a wet lab. So what you do, you simulate in silico, and you do those kind of stuff. And in the end, here also, you do all these and reduce the possibility, and at the end, you use actual wet lab procedure. So this is the first one that her lab have come up. This person, oops. He owns a company called Embodied, which tries to incorporate emotional features in AI. For whom? For kids with autism. Frequency of autism has increased significantly. At least in the US, it used to be 1 in a few hundreds few years ago. Now it is 1 in 30. So that's the robot that he has devised, is going to have eye contact with the child and going to help the child develop social skills. So this is a very, very commendable work that this person, Paul, is doing. And now you might be saying, geez, you are giving all sorts of examples from the US and here and there. What are we doing? Are we doing anything good? Yes. Some people, some rather young people in Kerala has done something tremendously good. What is the biggest evil in our society? Biggest evil in our society is caste. And this manual scavenging and unspeakable stuff happens. It is not just racial biasing against that. Yeah, it is always nice that US it is being done, here we do it. Now these people have come up with an AI-enabled robot which is going to be they are getting a lot of contracts from different municipalities so that the manual scavenging is going to be replaced. And I believe there are many others, but to me, this invention, this innovation is very close to my heart. And it's done by people in their 20s. So there are not just the technology part, but technology pervades in our life. So there are 4 things which controls our behavior. Law or influences our behavior. The market, the norms, and technology. And here with what is happening here is digital, embedded, enabling, and ubiquitous. It's there. This ubiquity and embeddedness, and that means that we are not even aware of it. It's like being a fish which is not aware of being in water. So we are always now under what is called the ambient intelligence. Your fridge knows when to order. Your watch tells, okay, so many calories you have lost. So in the process, what we are losing our touch with ourselves. Now there are 2 approaches. One is the lexicocratic, like the legal kind of stuff. Their order is based on tradition and legislation. We correct and penalize wrongdoing. But here you have this technocratic. For example, You cannot even take a card. You cannot, it is going to prevent you from any wrongdoing. There is nothing wrong in that. There is a whole lot of wrong in that, jurisprudentially, philosophically. But the thing that is there is this technocratic approach did not develop human beings, keeping human beings in mind. These things developed with machines, for machines, and getting adopted to humans. That's a big problem. If you take a look at the small piecemeal problems, deepfake, these, that, you miss the bigger picture. These things, most of these things were developed keeping machines in mind. For example, the whatever these cameras, surveillance, or what you call CCTV, all these things which were kept in for inanimate stuff are now being deployed for humans. So the law is evolving. We first had technology is going this way. So essentially, we had this judicial principle-based case laws. Then we had law 2.0. Here, I think this is law 1. Yes, this political, that is legislation. And now the domain is technology, like technological management. That's the term, those of you, if you are into law, that is technological management, the work by Kerr, the work by Brownsword, Shoshana Zuboff. There are n number of people who are working, and there the tool is technology. It is not. Look at this. These two things are essentially, if I say principle, you think of humans. If I say policy, you will think of humans. If I say technology, mostly some machines would come to your mind. So this is how the changes are taking place. And we are also going from life 1.0 to life 3.0. By the way, if you want a book, I can recommend two. One is by Max Tegmark called Life 3.0. The other one is called Human Compatible by Stuart Russell. These are the two best books without hypes that are available in the market for AI literacy for non-specialists. So what is happening here is basically software control, and here simple biological beings cannot even control their software nor control their hardware. So all of us live by three libraries, essentially. One is the genetic library, the other one, it is here in the brain, and the third one is what we call typically the library. So cultural beings, let us say non-bacteria, cultural beings like us, we can control the cultural aspect, but not the genetic library. So hardware we cannot control. But there could be a time where you could control, actually, if it is technological life 3.0, all this could be controlled. Even the genetic so that's where this biotech comes in, where it can actually manipulate the genetic library as well, not just the brain. So essentially, these are 3-4 letter words that were the gift of the 20th century scientists to the 21st century technologists. We have atom for manipulating matter and energy. We have gene for manipulating life and life form. And we have byte. And at the intersection, what is this? This symbol? Power, that's the word. So at the intersection, that is the seat of power who controls this. So when you have informational asymmetry, there is tremendous amount of power asymmetry. With the kind, even if I give my cell phone to you, with all that information, you cannot do much. But Google or Amazon can wreak havoc. And there is the reason being, there is this informational asymmetry. They have the tools to make use of the data. We do not. And the power resides where these three intersects. And as conscious citizens and human beings, we ought to be aware of it. So what happens essentially is the wheel of progress requires both science and technology and humanities. We have co-evolution of humanities and technology. That's how things have happened so far. So this is a mutualist symbiosis. Science asks, such as Schrodinger's asks questions like, what is life? Then the humanities guys, all they do is add just one word and ask, what is life for? Cater to the corporeal things about the body. Comfort and convenience contributes to the spiritual. Here you have improves health, etc., and it helps humanities ask questions about, gives meaning. Then you have action, contemplation, hedonism, and eventually the humanities part talks about eudaimonia. Those of you, I'm sure you are familiar with it. It's a Greek word about good life, the balanced good well-being. So that, I believe, is the way to go. Not just artificial intelligence, not just technology, but all sorts of intelligence and science and technology as well as humanities.
Thank you, Professor Shokhendu Shomastar, for those enriching words and the fantastic presentation. I would just open the house for 5 minutes and we can take some questions if there is any question. Please, can we have the lights, please?
Just if you want, I can show you how to use, if you are teachers, if you have to develop syllabus. So I can, if you have done it, I have done it a few times, how to use ChatGPT to develop syllabus very quickly. So that could be something hands-on if you want. No, I would do that right there.
Okay.
I mean, I wanted to do more hands-on. These workshops are like only monologues. I hate that.
Please. Yeah, please.
Is it all right? Sorry for the but I think it will.
Please switch off the lights of the dais, please.
Okay, all of you have,
Hello.
I guess, Windows, right? Yes. If you have a legit version of Windows, you will have something, you will see something called a Copilot. Yes. Okay, so you go there, that's where I'm going to show you, okay? All right, here you can see that ask me anything. Can you see the prompt? Yes. So I first ask, can you ask me, can you help me prepare a syllabus? Okay, there is a whole lot comes in, okay. Now what is wrong in that prompt? I must learn, this is part what is called prompt engineering. I have to give it specific stuff. So there is this chain of thought. So let us say I'm trying to develop a syllabus on, I can, if I shout, you can hear, right? Yes. Okay, keep it here then. Now what happens is, let us say we will try to develop a syllabus on critical reading. NEP, you see AECC is there, there is critical reading, and that's a 100 level course.
I hope you are familiar with those terminologies now. So let me ask again. Okay, where is it? Just a sec. What? Okay. Okay. What I'm doing is giving it the context. It is important because these LLMs are the way to visualize them, that think of it as an entity that has read everything that has been written so far. So it has access to that entire corpus. So it is important that I give some context. Terms of conform reviewed. Where is it? Okay, somehow, yes, it is not taking. Okay, anyway. Prepare 100 level prepare 100 level course in technical you see how quickly it is being done. How to grade policies, all these things are there. You can go and you can copy this here. I'm not familiar with this. Oh. Here, how do I go to the top? Yes. You see the course title, critical reading, course description, then course objective, required texts, course schedule, week 1, week 2, week 3, context and pub, all these. So let me see if it can do some of those dreaded features like COPO, right? Continue might help. How dumb of me. You see, as you do, it is going to prompt certain questions. These are quite useful. What are some recommended readings for this course? So let us see. Or can you provide more examples of rhetorical categories? So let us see what recommended readings does it say. And here it gives the references from which it has pulled this up. So you can ask also, suggest some course outcomes. Okay, then five You want to set questions? Multiple choice questions could be done. Now, if you have your own syllabus, own document, you can feed it in there and it can summarize and a whole lot of stuff. So that's how one can use, and if you have a legit Windows, it comes free with that, this Copilot. Okay.
So what about you doing the same thing on ChatGPT, because that will also produce the same.
No,
result.
but the ChatGPT, yes. But I have this. You could do that. Now, ChatGPT has a subscription version for the good one. Okay. Here's, if you have a legit Windows, then this is the underlying software is ChatGPT for Copilot. So that is it works. And to be honest with you, I really have not compared. I have on my machine, that's a Windows machine, and I know the ChatGPT OpenAI is now part of Microsoft, and they put it in. So the Copilot is, and Copilot can be used on many things. For example, with your Excel files, you can use Copilot. You can prepare PowerPoint presentations using Copilot. All those things could be done. Any questions?
Yeah, do we have any more questions? Then we end today's session, and it was really I thank you on behalf of EMRC for attending the first day of the workshop, and we hope to see you all tomorrow. We will begin our sessions tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So, and just for your information, if you're interested, there is tea outside. For those who would like to have another round of tea, you may please join us outside. Thank you, and see you tomorrow at 10 for our fourth session. Thank you.